This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Today's discussion is sorting out teams, the hardest job. So when I look at companies and building companies, startups or advanced companies, one of the hardest things to do is ultimately decide who should be on the bus, who's a leader, who makes a huge contribution, and who does not. And it's very hard. It's hard work to make those decisions and do them in a thoughtful, deep way. But it's absolutely critical to building great companies and great firms. And to my knowledge, in any startup, any situation, there is a tremendous amount of time that has to be spent sort of getting people together and sorting out who's really leading, who's really contributing, who's not. And the more that you could accelerate that process through whether it's regular meetings, regular huddles, regular reports, regular focus on the key things, the better off you are. And almost always in teams, that stuff will sort itself out pretty soon if you constantly are in contact with each other and constantly connected and constantly working through it to figure out, especially whenever you're in a company or startup particularly, you're hiring lots of new people and trying to figure out, okay, you never know with people what you have until you work with them. I've seen so many times in my career where somebody says about somebody, that person is the Messiah. They're going to be fantastic. They're going to lead this. They're going to be so great. And they turn out not being so great. The flip side is I've seen so many times the opposite where people come in, not great expectations, but they end up being an absolute leader, an absolute complete professional, someone who really ends up having the drive, the personal skills, the intelligence to lead teams, to lead groups, to become a critical player, a critical participant. And you don't know for a period of time, and you certainly almost don't know. You can guess on probabilities based on the resume, but the hardest thing is ultimately constantly working teams together to sort them out. And I don't mean sort of like through the stupid things like through a corporate retreat or through the team fall where the person, trust fall type things. No, not through a group yoga class. No, the way to do it in business is you're constantly being together, constantly working together in a virtual world. It probably means regular huddles. It means regular talking, regular visiting. And this is the most important job of leadership, is if you could sort out teams right, get the right people in place, then it's a lot easier to accomplish whatever the core goals of the organization are. And I think as I watch this in startups, as I watch this in businesses, as I watch it in private equity and venture capital funded companies, this effort, I've seen this so often where a leader falls in love with a new hire or a leader has a low expectation of a new hire. And the reality is you don't know until you know, but the only way to get there, it's important to get there relatively quickly. And the way that you sort people out, the way that you figure this out, the way that you give people the chance to excel is through regularly visiting, regularly reporting, and the team figures it out together, really. At the end of the day, they figure out that person's really contributing, this person's not. I mean, you see it over time. That person talks great, but doesn't really get stuff done. I mean, you see it over time in companies, but it takes real effort to sort out teams. It's the most important and the hardest job. Let me thank you so much for listening. If you listen to this all the way through and you text me, sorting out teams, you're the first person to text me, and you haven't claimed the Amazon gift certificate in a while, we'll send you a $50 Amazon gift certificate digitally today. Thank you for listening. The phone number, if you want that, is 773-766-5322. Thank you for listening.